Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's hybrid New York City hearing of the Committee on Small Business, jointly with the Committee on Veterans. Today, excuse me. Everyone, please place all electronic devices to vibrate or silent mode. If you wish to submit testimonies, you might send it to testimony@council.nyc.gov. Again, that's testimony@council.nyc.gov. Thank you for your cooperation. Cheers. We are ready to begin.
Good afternoon. Welcome to today's joint Veterans and Small Business Committee's hearing to discuss veteran entrepreneurship and public contracting opportunities. I am Councilmember Robert Holden, Chair of the New York City Council's Committee on Veterans, and I'm joined by my colleague, Councilmember Julie Menin, Chair of the Committee on Small Business. In addition to today's oversight topic, we'll hear my bill, Intro 476, which would require the Department of Small Business Services with the city's chief procurement officer to enable veteran-owned business enterprises to identify as such when registering to do business with the city. This bill would also require SBS and the Department of Veteran Services to create a Veteran Leadership Advisory Program to educate veteran-owned businesses about the city procurement opportunities and support such business enterprises during the procurement process. Veterans have a long and rich history of returning home from the service to become American entrepreneurs. Since the post-World War II era, veterans have engaged in entrepreneurial activity at a higher rate than civilians. However, rates of veteran entrepreneurships have been on the decline. According to a 2018 Syracuse University Institute for Veterans and Military Families report in 1998, 16% of veterans in the labor force were self-employed, compared with 12% of non-veterans. But in 2018, the same rate declined to 11% for both veterans and non-veterans. So this was due to several factors, including the aging profile of American veterans, difficulty obtaining capital, limited support from medical and disability service providers, and a lack of established networks and mentors. I am pleased to see both SBS and DVS offer programs and services to help veterans overcome some of these hurdles. Today, I hope to evaluate the administration's outreach efforts to educate and aid veterans struggling to navigate the resources at their disposal. In 2015, the administration issued a report entitled A Roadmap for Supporting Veteran-Owned Businesses. The report underscored the need to identify, track, and improve outreach to increase the participation of veteran-owned business in the city procurement. In 2015, or the 2015 report included 7 recommendations to help the city improve data collection and support veteran-owned businesses. Today's hearing aims to assess the progress the administration has made in implementing these concrete recommendations and evaluate the need for further action. I'm looking forward to discussing my bill, Intro 476, which would codify 2 of the report's recommendations. I believe the city must act as a centralized point of contact to connect veteran-owned businesses with the tools and resources they need to thrive. So my hope is that this hearing will enhance the public awareness of the city programming and break down barriers to veteran companies and entrepreneurships. I want to thank the Veterans Committee staff for their work in assembling this hearing, Committee Counsel Nick Connell, Policy Analyst Elizabeth Arts, as well as my Chief of Staff, Daniel Cozina, and Legislative Director Craig Caruana. I'll now turn it over to Chair Menin for her opening statement.
Thank you so much, Chair Holden. I really want to thank you, and I want to thank members of both committees for agreeing to hold this important joint hearing. My name is Julie Menin, and I'm the chair of the City Council's Small Business Committee. I first of all want to commend my colleague, Chair Holden, on his leadership in sponsoring Intro 476 and establishing a much-needed certification program for veteran-owned businesses in our city. While the city already has several specialized certification programs for minority and women-owned businesses, locally owned businesses, and emerging business enterprises, no such program exists for our city's veterans. These individuals risk their lives for the freedoms that we often take for granted, and at the very least, we should grant them recognition when choosing to patronize the small businesses that many of them own and operate. Critically, Intro 467 does not contemplate an immediate change to the city's complex procurement rules. There are a myriad of state and federal rules that govern how and with whom city agencies can contract, and I can say that firsthand as someone who served as commissioner of several city agencies. So a phrase that is often heard but less often understood is that agencies are required to contract with the lowest responsible bidder. This means that in most cases, city agencies need to use a competitive, scaled bidding process to make a decision on whom to award a contract. The rationale, of course, behind this system is that city agencies will preserve public funds by contracting with the lowest bidder that is capable of performing the needs of a contract. Rather than change the procurement rules, Intro 467 would place the onus on SBS to work with the Department of Veterans Services to develop a Veterans Advisory Leadership Program, as Chair Holden talked about, to educate veteran-owned businesses about various federal, state, and city procurement opportunities, and to support veteran-owned businesses when applying for government contracts. While the bill before our two committees today would not impact city procurement in the same way as, say, the city's MWBE program, it would still go a very long way towards acknowledging the many veteran-owned businesses in the city and allow city residents and visitors alike to make informed shopping choices. The goal of this committee is to support and to elevate the city's small businesses whenever possible. And I think Intro 467 creates a really important opportunity for SBS to do just that for our city's veteran-owned businesses. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge some of our colleagues who are here. Our Majority Whip, Silvina Brooks-Powers, and Councilmember Vicky Palladino have joined us. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the Interim Small Business Committee Senior Counsel, Alex Polinoff, as well as my Chief of Staff, Jonathan Shutt, my Legislative and Budget Director, Brandon Jordan, for their hard work preparing for this hearing. And now I'll turn the floor back over to Alex. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Alex Polinoff, Senior Counsel. Before we begin testimony, please be aware of the following administrative matters. If you're registered to testify, please listen for your name to be called. Witness names will be called in groups to facilitate council member questioning. Additionally, if you're testifying virtually via Zoom, council staff will unmute you when it's your turn to speak. Please be patient if you are not immediately unmuted. Each witness will be limited to 5 minutes, so please stop your testimony when the sergeant calls time. Your understanding of these procedures is appreciated as we ensure that everyone has an opportunity to be heard today. As a reminder, you can submit written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov up to 72 hours after the conclusion of today's hearing. Members of the administration, I'll now administer the oath. Commissioner James Hendon, Commissioner of Strategic Partnerships Ellen Greeley, Senior Policy Analyst Pedro Zapata, Executive Deputy Commissioner Dinashell Gross, Chief Diversity Officer Maria Osorio, and Deputy Chief of Staff Matt Sullivan, would you all please raise your right hands? And if I didn't call your name, thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth today, and to respond honestly to council member questions? Thank you all. You may begin when ready. Commissioner, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think your microphone is off.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. All right. Good afternoon, Chair Holden, Chair Menon, committee members and staff, veterans and advocates. My name is James Hendon, and I'm proud to serve as the Commissioner for the New York City Department of Veteran Services. I'm joined today by DVS's Senior Policy Analyst, Pedro Zapata. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleagues from the Mayor's Office of Contract Services, Chief Diversity Officer Maria Osaro, and from the New York City Department of Small Business Services, Deputy Commissioner Dinah Shaw Gross, Executive Deputy Commissioner Dinah Shaw Gross, who will be available to answer questions from committee members. We welcome this opportunity to testify about entrepreneurship resources and services for veteran small business owners, as well as city procurement opportunities for interested veteran-owned businesses. Veterans have a proven record of entrepreneurial success. Veterans come to business enterprises with critical competencies that relate directly to starting and succeeding in small business, including training and leadership experience, working in teams, planning and executing complex plans. Additionally, veterans are increasingly diverse in economic background, race, gender, sexual orientation, and other categories that have been less represented in small business ownership. This administration is dedicated to ensuring that veteran entrepreneurs receive the resources they need to succeed. DVS, MOX, and SBS are fully supportive of the NYC veteran community and are committed to helping veteran businesses open, operate, and thrive. NYC DVS supports veteran entrepreneurs by connecting them to resources and services through our robust Vet Connect NYC network. Our team of care coordinators utilize Vet Connect NYC to connect veteran entrepreneurs to outside organizations that provide unique programs, offering a range of small business resources, including access to capital, marketing development, business planning, and more. Our agency website also provides information on a variety of programs and resources, ranging from starting a small business, training programs, business mentorship and networking, certifications, business reporting, reopening, grants and loans, legal services, federal relief, COVID-19 relief, and more. NYC DVS and SBS also collaborated to create an interactive online map known as VetBiz NYC. VetBiz NYC enables veteran entrepreneurs to promote their businesses online and encourages the public to shop locally while also supporting those who served. Our map is currently home to over 300 veteran-owned businesses representing a cross-section of industries throughout the 5 boroughs, including professional services, construction, maintenance, and repair, to name a few. DVS and SBS have also conducted outreach to encourage veteran business owners to certify their businesses by applying to the Emerging Business Enterprise Program and/or the Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprise Program. Most recently, NYC DVS established the Veteran Business Leadership Association. The VBLA aims to promote certification and support advocacy, community outreach, leadership recognition, and education related to successful veteran small business development. The VBLA's goal is to create a specialized network for veteran business leaders that is peer-driven and supportive of the community's unique needs. In April, VBLA hosted its first workshop for veteran business owners interested in applying for NYC EBE certification. Given the successful turnout, VBLA went on to host 3 more workshops in May and June. Topics included growth strategies for veteran-owned businesses, government contracting strategies, and translating military skills into business. In addition to the services and programs offered by NYC DVS, SBS has programming to help small businesses, including veteran-owned entrepreneurs, start, operate, and grow in the city. SBS helps minority and women-owned businesses get city certified to compete for city government contracts and funding services. They have programs to assist businesses navigate government rules and regulations, including providing free mock inspection services to identify violations in advance. The newly launched NYC Business Express service team, NYC Best, provides business owners with one-on-one expert support on getting the appropriate licenses and permits needed, prepares them for inspections, and helps them understand any violations they have received. SBS also helps businesses grow by providing access to capital through federal, state, local, and private funds, including banks, credit unions, and nonprofit lenders. With our close partnership with SBS, we get veteran entrepreneurs connected to the right services to help them thrive. DVS is generally supportive of the goals identified in Intro 476, 2022. This bill will require the city to enable veteran-owned businesses to identify as such when enrolling to conduct business with the city. DVS fully supports the goals of this initiative. DVS also welcomes the opportunity to continue working with its partners at SBS to grow the Veteran Business Leadership Association. The agency rolled out in April 2022. In conclusion, Our city's veterans represent the best of what we have to offer, and this administration is committed to providing them with the support, all the support they need upon their transition from military service as they build their economic futures. We thank you for this opportunity to testify on this matter and look forward to any questions you or other committee members may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the city can only provide support and training to veteran-owned businesses if we track the volume of veteran-owned companies doing business with the city and their needs. Now, you mentioned that there's, in your testimony, there's 300 veteran-owned businesses in New York City. That's current?
We have a map which has more than 300 veteran-owned businesses listed, and so that's separate from the number of VOBs in the city, Mr. Chair.
So what method and mechanisms does the city utilize to track veteran-owned businesses in New York City? Because that's the million-dollar question. Like, what method are you using?
This cuts two ways. I'm going to defer to my colleague, to Executive Deputy Commissioner Gross, as far as how SBS and MOX, between Chief Diversity Officer Osaro, how they have eyes on this. The number that we're using, and it's important to state this because I just want to call this out, given that we're talking in reference to this report, which is a few years old, the old report on this. We estimate that it's more than 900 veteran-owned businesses in the 5 boroughs. So the count that we have is 900. And the approximation is 976 as far as what we look at when we think of the market size.
976.
976 as far as in the 5 boroughs that are veteran-owned. We know of the 308 that are on the map right now, which we're adding to that day in and day out. And so as far as the known universe for us, it's in the 5 boroughs, 308 on the map, and it's 976 is the broader number that we estimate to be the population.
So do what are the principal industries of New York City's veteran business owners? Do you track, what areas they're working in or their businesses are? Because that would be very, very useful information if we can get that. Out of 976, you said? So
we got 976, but this goes back to something that we always talk about, where this issue with self-identification. Right. As far as we know the national number, about 33.1% of veterans self-identified. That's nationally. It's about 29.7% in New York State, 24.6% in New York City. And so for us, it's constantly trying to chop down the tree to have more of our brothers and sisters who own businesses come into the light. When we look at the map, of the 308 that are on that map, 232 have NAICS codes, or North American Industry Classification System codes. So we have those for 232 of those businesses. The top fields for those businesses, it's professional, scientific, and technical services are 41% of those we have NAICS codes for. Construction is 22% of those we have the codes for. Trade, transportation, and warehousing is 11%. Manufacturing is 7%, and then education, healthcare, and social assistance is 5%. So once again, it's professional, scientific, technical services, then construction, then trade, transportation, warehousing, then manufacturing, then education, healthcare, social assistance.
All right. So in 2015, SBS, MOX, DVS, in conjunction with PricewaterhouseCoopers, published a report titled A Roadmap for Supporting Veteran-Owned Businesses. Recommendation number 2 was to provide veterans an opportunity to self-identify, which you mentioned as a business, and veteran-owned through the Payee Information Portal, which we talked about in the past. This would allow the city to better track veteran-owned businesses doing business with the city, because at the time of the report's publication, MOX was not tracking the veteran-owned businesses that secured city contracts. So at our last hearing on this topic, DVS testified that veteran-owned businesses can self-identify through Passport, but does the administration think it improves function and data collection to identify veteran-owned businesses through Passport and through the Payee Information Portal, PIP? Do you think that's the way?
I'm going to defer to my colleagues at MOX and at SBS for this one. Thanks so much, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, sure.
Chair Holden, Chairman, and thank you for allowing us to be part of this testimony. Again, fellow council members and staff. The MOX passport system.
Pull a little closer.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Sorry.
The mic, yeah.
Mox Passport System is a citywide system for any procurement process for all city agencies. Within that system, we have allowed all businesses who are veteran-owned to identify as such, and that information is shared with our partners at Veteran Services and Small Business Services. We encourage all businesses who want to work with the City of New York to enroll in Passport, and we work closely with our partners here to ensure that they get information about how to compete for contracts, how to work with the City of New York. The PIP system is a historic system that vendors have to enroll in order to get paid by the City of New York. That's where they track payments, that's where they can do electronic payment and direct deposit, and that's also where subcontracting information is entered by prime contractors. But our system is set up in order to allow these businesses to identify as veterans and also to get the services that we provide.
You allow them, is there a box?
Yes.
There is.
Every business that enrolls in Passport to work with the City of New York has an option to self-identify as a veteran-owned business.
There's an option to self-identify, but there is a box saying veterans, box, click.
Yes, it's
Okay.
part of the
All right,
enrollment,
just to be-
enrollment
all right, just-
process,
all right,
yes.
Just want to make sure. 'Cause so does the, and I think you kind of mentioned this, Commissioner, but does the administration support the provision of Intro 476, which would codify that SBS and MOX would enable veteran-owned businesses to self-identify when doing business with the city? So you already kind of said yes to that, and we just get you on the record.
Absolutely, we absolutely
Okay.
support the intro, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Yes.
So,
And Mrs. Chair. Madam Chair, sorry. Sorry.
The 2015 report recommended the development of a Veteran Leadership Association comprised of established veteran organizations that could support new businesses. So additionally, the last time we held a hearing on this topic, DVS cited in their testimony that veteran entrepreneurs encountered challenges with starting and growing their business due to the lack of social capital in the form of networks and mentorships. So, and this has always been a problem, with veterans and getting them mentors and getting them, the wherewithal to start businesses. They do have certain, we're going to talk about certain hurdles, but what is the administration's position on development of a veteran leadership program within SBS to enhance veteran participation in city procurement?
I'm going to defer to Deputy Commissioner Gross, or you want me to start?
If you'd like.
I'll start a little bit. So we've launched the Veteran Business Leadership Association this year. As far as in April of 2022, we have launched something which is that vehicle that was recommended in this report as far as a place where our veterans can be able to go to receive that additional support and just mentorship as they navigate this system. So that's something that we have done, and we're so happy that we've been doing this in partnership with our good friends at MOX and SBS. But I'll defer to Executive Deputy Commissioner Gross. Anything else you want to add on that?
Yes, and good afternoon, Chairs Holden, Menon, and Councilmember Palladino and staff. We're thrilled to have the leadership of the Department of Veteran Services in establishing the VBLA. We work very closely together on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to support one another in events and in all of our service delivery. So SBS is eager to support the growth and the effectiveness of the VBLA with DVS's leadership.
So you do have mentors then. How many do we have that are in the program?
We have, it's 26 who have engaged with VBLA so far since the launch in April, and we have 20 who are moving forward as far as offering material assistance to those entrepreneurs as they navigate different opportunities. I have to say, a key thing when we think about VBLA, different from the MWE Leadership Academy that exists in that it's designed to be step one for a veteran entrepreneur, regardless of whatever the path is they desire to take, be it city procurement opportunities, state procurement opportunities, federal procurement opportunities, or if they're looking for the private sector. So I just wanted to flag that, Mr. Chair.
So, and we brought this up at the last hearing about filling positions within DVS, and you were saying that you were behind, like most agencies are behind in creating lines or at least filling those positions. So do the SBS and DVS have the capacity and the resources to expand this program of mentorships and what we just mentioned, leadership advisory program, as outlined in the intro 476. I mean, I know you're going to say that you do, but I really want to know, like, how many positions you still have to fill, a realistic, because we talked about you weren't getting the line, you were interviewed already, but you couldn't hire at that time. Has things changed since the last hearing?
And I want to highlight that. That's as far as just speaking to DVS in general, where we are. Having authorized strength of 41, having a certain number of vacancies. I believe it was, when we last spoke, it was at 13.
13, right.
Vacancies. We had, 5 protected leave. And so we, as far as looking at our count, we have been chopping the tree down on that, Mr. Chair, and we're so grateful as far as support from the administration as we've been, steadily getting that green light to hire one by one, as far as doing what we can to get lean, or to get our meat back, as far as coming out of the pandemic and trying to get stronger as an agency. Separate from that, VBLA is something that we're doing, working with a contractor, Mr. Chair. So it's something where we recognize that we didn't have the resources internally to fully execute it. So it's something where we're relying on a contractor who executes this program for us. And the website for VBLA, just for any entrepreneurs who may be looking, it's nycvbla.org. So nycvbla.org. Yeah.
Right. So just a few more questions, and I'll turn it over to my co-chair. The 2015 report also recommended that DVS leverage procurement technical assistance centers, PTACs, and state-funded small business development centers, SBDC, as a resource for veterans on how to do business with the government. And certainly everybody needs a course in that, but please explain how the agencies coordinate with these centers to help veteran-owned businesses pursue city contracts.
I'm going to defer to my colleague, policy analyst, Perhaps Joseph Potter. Just start that off, and then pass it over to you. If it's okay, Deputy Commissioner Gross. That's all right. Go, give it a go, bud. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that question, Mr. Chair and Madam Chair and the rest of the council and staff. At the present time, through the VBLA, we get inquiries for assistance on anywhere from business ideation to procurement and contracting. And what we do is we engage with the veteran owners and veteran-owned businesses and then decide how to best route them. So currently, we've been routing them to the regional SBS, PTAC, or Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which is run by our colleagues at SBS, where I myself have a direct line with my counterpart at that office to just follow up and ensure that our veterans are getting the help they need. We also refer our veterans to the state Office of General Services when they are looking for state SDVOB certification, or service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. For the inquiries on non-government or non-city contracting, our VBLA staff handles and works with our veteran-owned businesses to counsel and advise them through those procurement opportunities. For business development, we refer them directly to the Business Solution Centers, where they normally hold 2 cohorts of veteran-owned business-centered programs managed by our colleagues at SBS as well.
And anything to add?
Want to add? Yeah.
Yes, I would add that in addition to receiving those referrals, on a staff level regularly from DVS, we maintain a PTAC intake form on the SBS website and on New York City Business, so that any veteran or other business interested in growing through government contracting has an easy way to request PTAC assistance. They share some basic information about their entity and what type of support, and they receive both email and telephone follow-up.
All right. So this is a question, and I don't know if you can answer it, but I think I know your position, Commissioner, but what is the city's position on pursuing state authorization to offer veteran-owned businesses the same procurement priorities as MWBEs?
Mr. Chair, there's a commitment here to have some sort of material benefit established for our service-disabled veteran-owned businesses that are based here in New York. Right now, we're having internal discussions on what that benefit looks like, but it's very, and this isn't just me speaking, this is the stance, is that the commitment is to have a material benefit for service-disabled veteran-owned businesses that are here in New York City. Right now, we're trying to balance doing something that is of the appropriate magnitude with accounting for ease of execution, with managing the existing policy landscape that Chair Menon had referenced as well. And so that's where we are. And I want to read something from the original roadmap, the document from a few years ago. It said at that time, given the limited goal, given the limited pool of veteran-owned companies able to do business with the city and the availability of their city certification programs, and the availability of other city certification programs like MWBE and EBE, a goals program for veterans is not recommended at this time. So this report said, given the small number of veterans, nothing is recommended at this time. We're in a different place now in that we want to do something. It's a question of what that something is. So I just want to be very clear about that, Mr. Chair and Madam Chair.
All right. So what coordination and assistance does the administration provide to New York City's veteran-owned businesses who are interested in being certified as a service-disabled veteran-owned business?
I'm going to defer to Pedro on that one, Mr. Chair.
You give him the hard questions there.
Oh, no, we can take it. It's just, yeah.
I'm only kidding.
Sort of similar to what I mentioned earlier, we funnel everything to the Office of General Services over at the state, and we list all of the requirements and give them a guide for successfully filling out the application. The process is an online application that one has to download, fill out, and sign. So what we do is we give them all the information in order for them to successfully complete and submit their forms. And then I reach out to my colleagues at OGS and check to see if they've received and if there's been any development on those requests.
I just want to add to that, as far as highlighting the Veteran Business Leadership Association, the VBLA. You know, VBLA, since it's been stood up, has gotten in the act of working with our veterans with these applications. We got a great case study from them from business where they helped that business obtain that SDVLB certification, obtain their EBE certification here at the city level, obtain the Federal Employee Retention Tax Credit. Their VA SDVOSB certification, the federal cert, is currently under review, but it's been submitted, and help them obtain disadvantaged business enterprise certification with the MTA, just to highlight what the value is that the association brings to the chair, Mr. Chair.
All right, just a few more questions from my side here. According to the DVS website, veteran entrepreneurs who use VetConnect NYC are connected to a DVS care coordinator that can help veterans apply for funding opportunities and training programs at the state and federal level. How many requests for entrepreneurship assistance did DVS receive through VetConnect in 2021?
Before answering that, Mr. Chair, I just want to give the caveat that think of DVS as a pizza shop. We either receive orders that come in through the phone, people walk in, folks come to us online, we can get orders through social media. And so VetConnect is our online way of receiving orders, but it also helps us as a back end as far as our overall database, the Unita system there where we track things. So I just want to clarify when we say VetConnect. So the numbers I'm going to report, this is everyone who's come into the shop, so to speak. So not just VetConnect, but what has come to DVS. Fiscal year 21, we received 25 requests for entrepreneurship assistance from our veterans. Fiscal year 22, we received 68 requests for entrepreneurship support, and thus far in FY23, we're only 3.5 months in, we're at 51 requests. So year over year from FY21 to 22, 23, it's 25, then 68, and now 51.
All right, good. All right, I'll turn it back to my co-chair, Councilmember Menon.
Thank you so much, Chair Holden. First of all, I want to recognize my colleagues who've joined, Councilmember Joanne Ariola, Councilmember Sandra Ung, and walking in Councilmember Darlene Mealy. Thank you so much for joining us. So I have a number of questions that I wanted to ask. First, what is the percentage and amount of city contracts that are currently being awarded to veteran-owned businesses?
Madam Chair, I'm going to defer to my colleagues at Mox on that one.
I'm going to have to refer to my colleague, Matt Sullivan, if those numbers are available.
Come on up, come on up.
Yeah, sorry. I don't think we have that number available now, but that's something that we can look
Yeah,
into and
could you
follow up on.
please get it to both committees so we could see? I'm really interested in this percentage so we can drill down on how much money is being awarded to our veteran-owned businesses. Secondly, how would the administration's proposed PEG affect DVS, and particularly, and I was concerned about some of the comments that came from Chair Holden about vacancies in the agency. In regards to the subject of this hearing, which is obviously supporting veteran-owned small businesses, how would the proposed PEG affect those services?
In the context of this, for us, the VBLA, as I mentioned, we have a contractor who runs that effort as far as VBLA. And so for us, any reduction in general reduces our ability to be able to do things like that as far as what we do with our OTPS or other than personnel services funding, Madam Chair. We're doing what we can, as all are in this administration right now, to be as innovative as we can and to be efficient and still meet mission. In other words, it's a goal for us to continue to invest in this work. We see the value of it, even with the uptick in veterans whom we're identifying, to the number of veterans reaching out to us for support. It's all about having a relationship with our people, Madam Chairman. And that relationship brings more of our brothers and sisters out of the shadows as veterans so we may help them. And so this is something that, PEG or no PEG, you will still see VBLA being executed. You'll still see us being very much on the offense with engaging our veteran entrepreneurs.
Okay. Can you walk us through the resources that exist for a veteran to obtain assistance in obtaining public contracts? So specifically, I'm interested in the exact outreach. Like, one of the things that we saw a couple months ago in a hearing our committee did on MWBEs is that so many MWBEs were simply not aware of the opportunities. So I'm really interested in what kind of outreach you're doing, what kind of events, what materials are you disseminating, and how many different languages, what overall are the respective agencies spending on outreach, if you could get, and if you don't have that, I would ask that get to both of our committees.
And forgive me, I don't have the exact spend for us. I can say that a lot of the work for us is identify the vet first. Once we find out that veteran-owned business, then it's about the outreach. So for us, the identification takes the form of what we see in the map. And the map is a result of different ways that we receive these veterans who are in New York City. It's looking at the list of service-disabled veteran-owned businesses for the state. It's looking at the list of businesses that our friends at Mox receive through Passport where veterans self-identify. Mm-hmm. It's looking at, the VA has its own Vet Biz. The VA has Vet Biz. That's why our Vet Biz is actually modeled after that. Looking at those who are in New York City who are certified by the VA. And it's those who self-identify as far as just different avenues through which we try to identify these folks. I mentioned that it was at 8308 right now on the map, which is nyc.gov/vetbiznyc is our map. That's where it's located. We're in the process of updating it so that it'll be nearly 400 by the end of the week, as far as more that we've gotten through these means, Madam Chair. And so once we get them, then there's a constant, there's us messaging to that explicit group on, hey, here's what's available to you. That's to them. There's what we do via social media and via our website and via the newsletter to more broadly let veterans and veteran entrepreneurs know, here's what we've got available. Please take advantage of this and what our friends at our other agencies, including SPS, have to offer.
And so the approximately 300 veteran-owned businesses that are on this online site, are they then being marketed to businesses, larger corporate businesses in the city, not-for-profits? Because there's so many economic opportunities, not just city contracts, but there are other economic opportunities. What is the city doing to connect these businesses is one question. And then the other question I have is, so you mentioned there are 976 veteran-owned businesses. How do we get to the other approximately 600? Because you basically have a third of these businesses on the online portal. What are we doing about the other 600 businesses, and how are we reaching them?
So this question speaks to VBLA and VetBizNYC. It goes together in that there's a larger campaign for us of when we talk to someone who's a large corporate or a major nonprofit, a major spender who could use these folks for procurement, it's hire a vet, it's help a vet, it's contract with a vet. And so no one can ever say, I don't know where to find a veteran-owned business. No, go to VetBiz NYC and you've got that. So that's what we're trying to do as far as getting the word out to a lot of the larger players so they know where our people are. I mentioned before that VBLA, one of the key reasons it's formed is to not just provide technical assistance, but to be a place where we can be able to say, hey, you know, this large corporation wants to do business with a veteran, let's reach out and talk to VBLA and see if they can help us identify someone and make that connection. Like the larger goal for them is to not just provide the assistance, but to be the buttonhole for which when a major corporate or any small business wants to do business with a veteran, they can engage with our VBLA and they can tie them in to these different entrepreneurs who are on that site.
Okay, like for example, the New York City Partnership, which represents the largest 300 businesses in the city, are you all reaching out to them to see, can they, for example, if you have a veteran-owned caterer, that they could help to promote that business locally to the 300 large businesses in the city? I guess I'm very interested in that opportunity for these small businesses.
It's funny, I was just talking with Deputy Commissioner Paul Vallone from our team has taken point with that. We had a conversation about this specifically as far as literally mentioning partnership. And so one of the roles that Deputy Commissioner Vallone will be helping us with is this effort as far as the getting in front of these major entities and stressing hire a vet, help a vet, contract with a vet, Madam Chair.
Okay, could we then get an update from you if you've started on that, and as those efforts continue, can you please get back to our committees specifically on that? Because I'd love to see some measurable results if we can get some of the large businesses in the city to then help to contract with some of these veteran-owned small businesses. And while you're coming up, I just want to recognize our colleague, Councilmember Shekhar Krishnan has joined us. Oh, okay. Okay, he's going to swear you in.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to swear you in. Yep.
He had his hand raised. Yeah.
I don't think your name was on the record, so Deputy Commissioner Vallone, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee today, and to respond honestly to council member questions?
Yes, I do, and it's good to see everyone. Chairs Holden, Chair Menon. What the commissioner just said was something that I took from that side of the aisle to bring here, is that interagency cooperation. This is a perfect hearing for that. You know, how can SBS and DVS move forward with this topic of veteran-owned businesses? So the VBLA program that the commissioner has been discussing, and with SBS's testimony, it is at the baby steps, the growth of that. So today's a good way to highlight that and talk about that. And so when I joined DVS, it was to reach out to the other agencies and say, hey, we are the smallest agency in the city of New York. We need your help. As one of the things we always testify, and Chair Holden's always fighting to get us more resources, one of those areas is we can't tackle all of this all together, so partnerships with SBS is critical. So to have hearings like this to talk about what's been doing and great work that Ellen and Pedro have been doing with the commissioner, to work with the VBLA, to work with the Veterans Committee, to identify the needs with new small business and veterans, has really been the goal over the last year since we've tackled this. So this is what you're seeing today, is that joint effort to this exact topic.
Okay, so I'm just going to make a recommendation that you reach out to the partnership, because again, I think that would be a really important opportunity economically for these businesses. I'm just going to ask one more question, and then I want to turn it over to my colleagues. So the NYU Veterans Future Lab released a report that found that the top 3 challenges for veteran entrepreneurs were marketing, personal finances, and lack of initial capital. What are you all doing to address those 3 buckets?
I think marketing is being amplified with the VBLA as far as getting them on the map. So then, you know, it's not just that assistance, but it's really Deputy Commissioner Vallone and others having those discussions with the partnership and other stakeholders to get folks to pay attention to our people to do business with them. As far as personal finances, and please help me out with this one, Deputy Commissioner Gross, a lot of it is making sure that our veterans who have access to capital needs know to tie in with SBS to take advantage of whatever offerings they have on the financial side for those veteran entrepreneurs. And then the last one you said was lack of, what was it again?
Capital.
Lack of, say it again?
Capital. Access to capital. Access to capital.
Forgive me, let me get this right. Lack of access to capital is SPS. I'm so sorry about that. Personal finances.
Personal finances.
Personal finances for us, it's, as far as city, it's tying in with DCWP and making sure that those who need it can receive help from your former organization and the resources they provide. Separately, something that we have been in talks with that we're looking to roll out very, very soon is having a personal financial advisor on Vet Connect NYC. We used to have one. We're looking to get that back. That was something that we used to, we had a sensing session recently where this came out as far as financial assistance being something that our veterans are struggling with, and just personal finances and management of them. And so we're looking at having a financial advisor back on our Vet Connect NYC platform, Madam Chair.
Okay, 2 recommendations there. One is on financial resources is connecting with my old agency, DCWP, which operates 30 financial empowerment centers. I think connecting the veteran-owned businesses directly to one of these financial counselors at one of the financial empowerment centers would be great. Love to see you do that. And then secondly, NYC & Co. I think a lot of times people forget that we have this incredible marketing arm for the city, and we should be utilizing their marketing budget and doing a partnership with them to help to promote veteran-owned small businesses. You've got domestic tourists coming from all around the country, many of whom are veterans, and I think they could do a really innovative promotion. So I'd love to see if you could do some type of partnership there. So that is it. I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those suggestions, Madam Chair.
There you go. Hi, everybody, and thank you very much. Councilmember Menon really covered a lot of my questions, but I just want to go over just a couple of things. We again keep hearing about online and online. We've covered this in other meetings. My curiosity lies in the fact that there's 235,000 veterans living in New York City. Out of 235,000 veterans living in New York City, there's only 976 businesses on a broad scale. We have 300 known. I'm just jotting what you guys wrote and read back to us. I would like this broken down a little bit, if you could, for me, please. What exactly is the budget for DVS, and how much of that budget is spent on advertising to let the veterans out there living in this city what's available to them, because you've got some great stuff going on, and they need to know on a much broader scale what we could do to help them. The Veteran Connect, I see here in 22, the number was 68. Does that mean 68 physical people applied for this, or was that a percentage? I might have missed it when you were speaking.
Thank you so much for all these questions, too. I'm so glad you asked about the numbers. As far as the Vet Connect number, that was 68 people. So it was 25 in FY21 as far as veterans, folks who reached out to DVS needing entrepreneurship support. So it's 25 in FY21. It's 68 in FY22. So far in the first 3 months of FY23, we're at 51. So that's physical people reaching out.
Okay, so out of all these veterans, we had only 68 people reach out in 2022. Does that number sound low to anybody else other than myself? I mean, that sounds pretty pathetic. So what that tells me is that we're not reaching our veterans the way we should be. We have a tremendous amount of veterans here that need a tremendous amount of help, and they need work. And you yourself said it, and we all know it. They are probably the best trained people we have out there, and they can service any major corporation as well as startups, businesses of their own. So my question, like Julie's, remains, how much of this are they actually seeing out of the city itself for city contracts? We have, what did we say here? The number of, you broke it down, 232 businesses. 41% were professional, 22% were construction, trade was 11%, I believe you said, and manufacturing was 5%. Is that number based upon 976? Or is that number
So the couple of things. I want to go from the numbers from top to bottom.
Sure.
The numbers in this report have a lot of issues with them too. So when we start with they started with 235,000 veterans in New York City in 2014, and then took national averages for everything else. And so the assumptions they used were based on, all right, 235,000, and so what percentage of that, based on national numbers, are employed, unemployed, or retired? And then after the employed number, what percentage of that would be business owners? And then of that number, what percentage would be able to would go into trades that would do business with the city? In other words, these numbers were off as far as where they landed. And this number got us to about, I think it was 15,400 veteran-owned businesses mentioned in this. And so the assumptions just weren't in line. First off, Madam Councilwoman, for us, we look at we know that there are 161 service-disabled veteran-owned businesses in the 5 boroughs. We know that the percentage of those of us who have disability ratings is 16.5%. So that's how we got the 976 number. That's how we got that as far as the larger market for us. We have 308 businesses on the map, and you're right, out of those 308, 232 have provided us with these NAICS codes, or the North American Industry Classification System codes. And so from that's where we got those numbers where it was, and you're right, I just want to clarify one piece of it, it was 41% professional, scientific, and technical services, 22% construction, 11% trade, 7% manufacturing, and 5% was education, healthcare, and social assistance. As far as us, numbers-wise, budget for DBS is approximately $6.1 million. About $4.1 million is personnel. The other $2 million is our other than personnel piece of it. And so it's that we have a budget of $2 million that we balance for these things. Yeah.
Councilmember Palladino, just like yourself, and it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Paul.
Not down the block. just like Chair Menon said also, when we spoke to the delegation, Commissioner and I, and when Chair Holden brings us in and we speak, how we can expand this conversation is with every legislator and every committee that they're on, and every legislation and every budget, you ask yourself the question, where are veterans within that conversation? So just like Chair Menon mentioned about New York and Company and Fred Dixon, the CEO there, and EDC, where is veterans within that conversation? We're looking, and this is something new, to partner with every agency. Right? If the largest demographic of veterans is seniors, where is DFTA within that conversation, and with how many veterans they're helping within DFTA and working within DBS? So with us being the smallest agency, the part that would help tremendously would be those partnerships. And like SBS at the table with us today, that's starting to happen. It's going to take some time, but that's starting to happen. And then we can tap into those additional ways to reach more veterans, just like this conversation.
Because
so you're right in highlighting that.
And I want to add something, okay? Councilman, so it's also this larger issue that hovers over all of this is veteran self-identification. That's where it is, really. And it's just, when I mentioned that at the national level, the federal data is, it's 33.1% of all veterans eligible for VA healthcare utilize it, and the VA is the second largest organization in all of the government, second only to the Defense Department. $300 billion budget. Here it is, they've only identified 33.1. We're working and doing everything we can and working with all partners, including everyone in this room, including yourself and the other members, to try to slay the beast here. And so we're working on it. And for us to be at 308 out of 976, and by the end of this week, we'll upload it, we'll be closer to 400 out of 976. We're trying to tackle this, but yeah, I completely understand. Did I fully answer all of your points? I want to make sure that I answered every question you had.
Did. I'm just curious, how did the vets find out about what you have to offer? I mean, there's so much out there. Even we said in another committee meeting, there's a lot of job seekers out there. Do any of these veterans fit some of these city jobs? A lot of these agencies are short on people. The city is really looking to make hires. Do any of our veterans fall into that category, that they could be hired by the city in our different commissions that are, they're short on help? DOT told me yesterday, they're down, I can't believe how many. Sanitation workers are down. I mean, we need people to work in the city. Can any of our veterans qualify for any of that? I know they're an aging population, of course, but I'm just wondering at what point and where can we, as city workers, put them maybe?
I think the center of gravity of that comment, and I just do want to flag when you said that we're aging, 71% of our veterans are 55 or older in this city.
That's
so I just
true.
want to call that. But right now it's about the word of mouth or the trusted advisor. So for us, in the context of what we've been doing with businesses, we had a kickoff meeting. We started this initiative during COVID where we had different trusted advisors or folks who were, network leaders or network hub leaders, as we call them, for our businesses. We got them all together for a meeting to discuss what we wanted to do to try to help our folks. And I found that it's been that word of mouth aspect of it as far as how veterans find out about things. And what devils us there is if I'm not in the tribe at all, I won't hear anything at all.
True.
And that's the problem. So that's it's how do we get the eyeballs, the ears of that man or woman who took the uniform off and is like, I'm not acknowledging this at all, but we want to help you and make sure you know what's available to us. And I feel like that's the area. It's that person who is in the dark is the one that is the hardest for us. For the others, if they're already self-identified, they're going to find out in some way, shape, or form. Sorry.
There's so few that self-identify?
Relative to, yes, yep. I mean, in the city, the number, it's 24.6% is where we're at in the city. So you see me, there are 3 others you don't see who've
Yeah.
served. Mm-hmm. And so that's where it is. It's trying to get beyond just we're dealing with the self-identified bucket as far as the veterans on this map for these businesses. It's breaking through to the others and trying to do that. And we're hoping that our performance and that folks see good things come from this and they would come into the fold.
At our veteran centers, now I know so many have closed, the American Legion halls have closed, the VFWs have closed. Where can they go if they don't do online? Those 2 that stand behind you that are invisible, and I understand that, where do they go? Where do they...
I think she's got to get sworn in. You already were sworn, right? I'm going to defer to Assistant Commissioner Ellen Greeley on that question.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hi, Council Member. Just wanted to give you the heads up at the onset of the pandemic. I put together a fairly comprehensive list of 160 veteran service organizations, including the American Legions, the the VVAs, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, et cetera, et cetera. The list really formed our basis for reaching out to all of the American Legions and Veteran Foreign Wars and the other associated organizations. We sent out a general letter. One was offering them masks and cleaning supplies. After that, we also told them about, I raised $25,000 from 5 different organizations to provide $1,133 to 22 veteran service organizations that also were strapped with running short of cash because they generally contract out and host events for the general community as well as for their members. It's how a lot of them make their money and that they survive. They themselves are really catering facilities, or at least venues for catering facilities in the local communities. So we were able to do that. We also gave out another 35 Home Depot card gift certificates to the VSOs and the VSOs out there. So we've had a relationship going with a lot of the VSOs. Some of them come to us because it's a great source for us to amplify our messages through them, and so we do write them letters. Actually, we send it through snail mail because not a whole lot of these organizations are open on a consistent basis. So we do have relationships with these organizations.
There's
going
no
forward.
help centers, though.
I'm sorry?
No help centers. There's no help centers, like designated areas where veterans can go in the different boroughs that can go in and get help.
Well,
That
we
can
do
sit
have,
down. There's one in Queens.
DVS does have veteran resource centers structured in each borough, and we do have regular posted hours that veterans can come to. Part of it is the amplification. It's, one source of it, again, where a lot of things are electronic, but one source of it is really using our VSOs to amplify our messages. And we have we have done that. I do get requests to go out and visit with the VSOs, actually,
Thank you.
pretty regularly.
Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Yeah, just to follow up on Councilmember Palladino, are those veteran resource centers open? Because many of them were shut down during the pandemic. All of them, all the
They're open.
five
They're all open now. Yes, Mr. Chair. I was
Okay.
looking at. I want to make sure we got the right website for it. But it's all on. They're
Right.
open on our website also. Yes. So there's
All right.
one at Queensboro Hall. There's one in the Bronx at an HRA site on Garrison Avenue. We got to get that. It's on the website. I want to find it so I can say it to folks. We have one in Staten Island. At a Department of Probation site there in Staten Island. We have one on Chapel Street in downtown Brooklyn.
And they're open 9 to 5, or what's the hours? Because
we have
you could
the
say
hours
they're open, but they're only,
we have the hours posted as far as when they're open, Mr. Chair. But we'll get the hours out there. At a minimum, it's 10 hours per week. At a minimum, they're open. But as we're hiring and getting our strength back, so to speak, we see ourselves having these things open each of the days of the week. So I'm looking for it right now so we can make sure that folks here have that information about our VRCs, but they are back.
but
they are open,
but can we get evening hours? This is the kind of thing that we have to look at. Like, all of them should be consistent. Let's say 9 to 5, and then alternate maybe one night a week for the other, the other ones. But I just want to again just piggyback on Councilmember Palladino's questions. The city is always great on programs. They're not great on telling people what programs are available. And it's not, that's always the case. And I always say, especially with smaller agencies like yours, we have to get creative on outreach. So I'll give you an example. There were 2 billboards in my area that were peeling. They weren't, covered with graffiti. They were in a commercial district. So I went to the billboard company and I said, this is an embarrassment. This is in terrible condition. Can you put something else on there? So guess what they put up? They put up recruitment posters for the Army. 2.5 years ago, they're still up. Now, this is free advertising space, because what I do is, if these companies are not maintaining their billboards, we put a complaint in against them that, it's peeling and they're littering, the paper is coming down off the billboards. But even on bus stops, bus shelters, even talking to utilities to try to piggyback on some of their mailings to put in something about DVS, the services, how they could reach out to people and get veterans to sign up. I'm sure companies would actually love to do that. The fact that the recruitment posters are still up over 2.5 years ago tells you that they're willing to do something to, in recruiting, but we should get, after the veteran leaves the service, we should try to help them. So if we can do some creative, I'd like to work with you, because I come from an advertising background, and I do have some ideas, because I'm seeing empty billboards, I'm seeing, utility bills, which I think we could piggyback. And I'm sure the utility companies would be glad to do that, and they would advertise that, and they would tell, what a great job they're doing in helping veterans. So we need to access that. If you have ideas, I'd like to sit with you. When we meet again, I have some ideas, and I will talk to the utilities to see if they're interested in, putting some of your information out there. But thank you, Councilmember Palladino. I want to call on Councilmember Ariola. You have some questions?
Commissioner, thank you. Good to see you again. So I want to talk about the Queens location, because that was opened by my predecessor, Eric Ulrich, when he was the chair of the Veterans Committee, and it's very important to us. And I looked just now, and I noticed that there was recently a forum that was held via Zoom, and I don't know about the other elected officials at this table from Queens, but I was not notified that that was happening. I also quickly, but cannot find the hours. I can find who's running it, the email address, and some phone numbers, but not the hours that they're operational. So I guess I've been hearing a lot of numbers talked about, but I would like to know, and you may not have it today, but I just would like to know how many veterans are utilizing this office and we're helping through this office. Because it says we have nearly 59,000 veterans in Queens. So I'd like to know how many veterans are utilizing that And if the number is low, how can we help to make sure more veterans know about it so that they can get help? As far as the programs for small businesses, I know that you're talking about a demographic that's 55 years and older, but there are younger veterans that were in more recent conflicts that do not join the American Legion or their VFW. So how are you reaching out to that demographic who may be homeless, who may be in shelter, and not part of a larger umbrella organization where they would get messaging?
So I'll just take it piece by piece. As far as the Veteran Resource Centers, and forgive me for not having that first, we'll get an alias to you for this council member and everyone, but it's on our homepage, the contact tab, and then there's Veteran Resource Centers, and it lists the address for each and the hours for each of our Veteran Resource Centers. So that's available. We'll make sure that we like to have aliases. You know, I think we've put in the ticket weight as far as nyc.gov/vet resources or vet resource centers. It's not up yet, but just so you have one place to tell people, hey, go here so you can see this stuff. That's one. As far as the numbers that utilize the VRC offices.
But how does a regular veteran know that if they're just going to the webpage for the Queen's office? I think that's just, maybe that'd be a little more difficult because they have to go to the main page to then get to. So that's a lot of steps for somebody that may not have access to computers. Maybe you're using the library for a computer to find out. So I think we have to make it a lot more accessible, especially to our younger veterans who are looking to go into business. Our older veterans are looking for medical services and retirement services and things like that. But we have some young veterans that are lost right now because they came out of service and felt like there was nowhere for them to go. Now, we have Vet Connect. We have it. It's a great program. But so now we have to work together to make sure that this particular demographic, the under 55, knows about it because they're the ones who are going to want to go into business. They're going to want to build their family. So how are we reaching them?
I want to start, and I'll pass to you. So one piece of this is the deeper issue that you're touching right now, Madam Councilwoman, is it's the deadly gap. There's this period after someone leaves the service where if we don't put hands on him or her, then they will just stay in the shadows and not identify again. And that's really that year to 18 months after service. If no one has really reached out to them through their identity as a veteran, they will often walk away from this and not put this back on. And so for us, a way of triaging that is something that Ellen leads. It's our ETS sponsorship program, where we're trying to make sure we get hands on these different veterans who are coming out and coming to New York City and pairing them with, older veterans who are already here. If you think about it, when you're in the military, every time you change duty stations, you're paired with a sponsor. We want to take that same model for folks when they transition out of the service. And just, goodness, a few weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago, we started to receive information from the Defense Department after 2 years of work, where now we're receiving the contact information, the DD-214s for the service members as they're getting out and coming to New York City. And so that's one where we're strategically trying to triage this so it's not an issue anymore. That's a longer term thing. As far as today, and I'll start this and Ellen will finish it, when it comes to, we work with our legacy VSOs, or legacy veteran service organizations, and our non-legacy, or the newer ones, like the Team Rubicons, the Team RWBs, though the Mission Continues, Travis Manion Foundations of the world. We work with those as well. And for us, right now, it's been the model of reaching out to the leaders of veteran entrepreneurial networks in the city to make sure they know about us and that they can wind up having that connection to that veteran so that they can then connect with us. Just naming a few of the groups that we do tie in with and we have relationships with that have a lot of those young veteran entrepreneurs you're speaking of. Bunker Labs, specifically the Northeastern region, including Bunker Labs in New York City, the Defense Entrepreneurs Forum, National Security Innovation Network, the New York State Veterans Chamber of Commerce, the New York Veteran-Owned Business Association, NYU's Veterans Future Lab, the Small Business Administration, Small Business Development Corporation, Veterans Business Outreach Centers, Jackson Drysdale Veterans Incubator, the New York Jersey Veterans Chamber of Commerce, the Queens Chamber of Commerce. And then as far as government entities, of course, we have our friends at MOX, our friends at SPS, our friends at the state from the office that runs the SDVOB division there from OGS, and our procurement technical assistance centers. And so we've been trying to get to them to say, hey, look, make sure folks know about us. Because it's not just on the business side, it's what can we do to be right by you in all aspects of your veteran identity. So we can always do more, we're trying. I just want to be clear about that, but this is where we are with this now. I take your point about us needing to be more specific about trying to market all these things so people know about the services we have, and that's something we're constantly working on.
And it's really something you can utilize any one of us for. We're happy to do it. We're happy to promote any type of Zoom meeting that you're having, any type of health fair, any type of job fair. We're willing to do that, and we have a very large reach. So, you know, I especially, and I speak for Queens, but for the 5 boroughs, any seated council member would be happy to do that. And the fact that none of us from Queens knew about that particular Zoom, we could have maybe gotten 50 more veterans to benefit from it.
If I could just ask then that you make sure you're working directly with the council member's office and every council member so that we can each be helping to market and promote in our own district. Just to make sure that we hear from everyone, and then I can come back on second round, Council Member Mealy, and then followed by Council Member Ung, and then we'll come back, Council Member Ariola for second round. And okay.
Hi, thank you. One thing I keep hearing, your small organization. I hope we can start getting it as a big organization, because it's same as you said about the, we should be talking at the budget. I think my colleague Valone said that at the budget table about, tell me where you put your money to show me where your passion is, and that's the veterans and the seniors. He brought it up, excellent. So I'm looking forward to y'all becoming bigger because this population needs so much. And I'm not going to go over what my colleague said, but it is a demographic that is homeless. And some of them have mental illness. What are you doing in regards to those individuals that if they had something stable, they can be at that veterans table? How are you doing with their permits, with them selling on the streets? That's what's coming into my office, where they are not opening it up. And majority of these veterans have a permit, but they can't work. The police are still harassing them with their permits. With others, they do not. So could you address that right quick?
So for the permits, that's really, and I want to acknowledge, I know we have some, I'm assuming he's going to speak later, Robert Belkabir, who is here also, who's a representative for our veteran street vendors. I know he's going to be on later. A lot of it comes back to
Love
us.
to talk to him.
Yeah, it's, for us, this isn't our area as far as having jurisdiction over these permits, but it's working with our partners at DCWP, our partners at the police department, to make sure that our veterans, that the earned privileges they have from being a service-disabled veteran street vendor, something conferred to them by the state, dating back to the Civil War days, that is still honored, and that's its own area, just as far as that one. On the mental health piece, I want to defer to Ellen on mental health. I want to start by saying with homelessness, the last point in time count was 625 veterans. The most recent one, which is, it was 4677 in 2011. It's 625 as far as the 2021 count, 620 in the system, 5 street homeless. Where we are with this group is working to, for those who are in the system right now, the 625, it's mental health and a need for supportive housing for many of those folks, for more than half of them. And so that's something where we've been in active talks with our friends at the Department of Homeless Services and HRA about what can we do here to help facilitate more of these folks going into supportive housing. And this is also something that ties in with, great partners who build supportive housing for veterans through the Empire State Supportive Housing Initiative. So when we think about what you're mentioning as far as the homeless veterans and the mental health, that nexus is what can we do to get our brothers and sisters who need supportive housing. That's something that we work on actively. And I want to defer to Ellen on anything else on the mental health side of this.
Yeah, so.
You kind of went over that enough, because I want to get about 2 more questions in. Thank you, but at a later date, I would love this.
Yeah.
Yes. At the last hearing, you stated that they have not offered the fast track entrepreneurship boot camp for veterans in recent years due to the low enrollment. Has SBS explored resuming these boot camps?
I'm going to defer to Executive Deputy Commissioner Gross on that one for fast track.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Mealy. So we do provide fast-track boot camps, those courses on a regular basis, and we advertise for various populations. So we have fast-track cohorts for women entrepreneurs, fast-track cohorts for veteran entrepreneurs. We're trying to focus on barriers that are specific to unique populations in the city, and then hire instructors and develop cohorts to support them. If we have folks who apply, but not enough to form a cohort, then we connect them to other cohorts that are ongoing. So if we had a veteran who had a business that was existing and, but we didn't have enough to form a cohort, we look for about 35 to start a cohort because we always have attrition in the program, and it's part of the design of this curriculum, which happens over 10 weeks, that they're forming a learning community that's going to support one another both to complete the program, but then afterwards. So we would connect that veteran to another fast-track growth venture cohort, and if they had veteran-specific needs, we would work individually to meet those needs. So we want to provide good customer service, not keep them waiting for a full veterans cohort to form, so they can express their interest, but until we have enough interest to form a veterans-only cohort, we will connect them to those other fast-track groups.
All right, that's right. Thank you. But I just have one more question. As a requirement for the businesses to be located in New York City, are we considering providing financial assistance similar to the federal program, SBA Veterans Advantage? The Small Business Administration's Veterans Advantage program, which eliminates upfront fees on loans up to $350,000 for veteran business owners. And if you do the SBS, if their partner or their spouse, would you train them just as well if a veteran opened up a small business and they're in it together? Will you train the veteran and his wife?
I'm still a little bit, then pass it over to Executive Deputy Commissioner Gross. Our charter is to support veterans and their families. And so we're gonna support everybody. I'm sorry about, and I apologize about, this is on me, the testimony not being clear. Veterans and their families, we will support. I just want to be clear about that. I want to pass it on to Executive Deputy Commissioner Gross as far as the SBA Veterans Advantage, that question, that piece of it.
Is it still in effect first?
So I'd like to look into and get back to you about that specific program. Connecting businesses to financing assistance is a huge part of our work. It's a major priority for SBS. And in FY22, I think we connected over 16,000 businesses to financing assistance with major banks, with CDFIs, and the federal loan protection, the COVID relief programs, state programs, and I'm happy to look into that specific program.
Up front.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The program that we have that lends upfront capital is for performance on city contracts. It's called our Contract Financing and Loan Program. And through that program, businesses that are performing on city contracts can borrow up to $1 million, capped at 3% interest from our CDFI partners to meet their mobilization or upfront staffing, needs for materials to perform on city contracts. And we can share more details about that as well. And in addition, the work that we provide in our workforce system is to veterans and their spouses. And we placed, I believe, about 530 veterans and their spouses directly in jobs in FY22.
And thank you, chairs, for this very important hearing. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And now we're going to call on Councilmember Sandra Ang.
Hi, and thank you for your testimonies today. I think I just have a quick follow-up question to all my colleagues' questions, more through the lens of SBS. I see that SBS do have a lot of programs for small businesses, which is great. But is there any programs that's specific, directed, and resources directed for veterans?
So the program that I just mentioned in our workforce centers is specifically for veterans, and we've run it since 2012, I believe. So I believe out of our network of 19 Workforce One centers, 7 include veteran specialists. And because we're providing a lot of those services virtually, we really cover the system or cover all the veteran and their spouse needs. And so they really specialize in helping to address training needs, placement needs of veterans and their spouses. And in addition, in our PTAC, we are providing technical assistance for all businesses that want to grow through government contracting, but that federal program does have a special focus on veterans. So in our PTAC clientele, we track specifically veteran status, and in FY22, we provided PTAC, I think, 232 instances of services to veteran-owned businesses through our Procurement Technical Assistance Center.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you. We're now going to go to second round, and we're going to begin with Councilmember Joanne Ariola. Thank you.
I just have a couple of questions regarding the veteran-owned businesses. When they come to you and they would want to apply through your agency or your department through VetConnect, what kind of services are available to that veteran to help them with the application process, which we know sometimes can be a bit arduous?
I want to start and then I'll pass it on to Dinah Shaw. And by the way, it's the other question, it's nyc.gov/vet-resource. I'm so sorry. It's nyc.gov/vet-resource, which has all that information about our resource centers. And that's that.
Thank you.
And then on Fast Track too, really quick, we've posted on nyc.gov/vet-business. We have that Fast Track curriculum for any of our veterans who want to take themselves through it. We have the legacy curriculum. Just want to say that too. As far as the VBLA is that Swiss Army knife for us. And so if someone comes to that Veteran Business Leadership Association and they need help doing this, that's where that help comes from. So I just want to mention that as far as where we are in this. When anyone, any application, city, state, federal, or if you're looking at private, that's where the VBLA is. I defer to my colleagues at SPS.
Councilmember Ariola, in terms of the technical assistance that our Procurement Technical Assistance Center provides, we have 7 staff people that are part of our PTAC, and they are providing webinars, group-based services, meet the agency events at various levels, but the heart of their work is one-on-one technical assistance with individual business owners. And so we run the MWBE recruitment and certification program for the city, and the whole team is expert in the registrations and certifications that are important to businesses that want to grow through contracting with government. So it is intensive line by line, within an application assistance, making sure it's completed correctly, that the supporting documentation are correctly, labeled and uploaded correctly, and all the way through to the completion of that process and outcome from the agency that's reviewing that. And we track that work down to the minute. We have to report to our federal funders, time of in service for each of those clients. So it's tracked in detail in our CRM, and we report out both as part of our MMR goals and to our federal partners who fund that program on an annual basis.
And so, thank you. And that is so important because the applications can be a labyrinth and for anyone, so I appreciate that. So for the amount of people who apply, I would imagine a number get denied, right? If they apply for a street permit license, right? And so, or they're a business or an MWBE. So not everyone who applies is granted that licensing, right? So what would be 2 or 3 reasons why a veteran coming in would be denied an MWBE or any type of licensing under a veterans program?
Yeah, so these are programs that are not limited in terms of the capacity of the resource. It's not like licensing where there is a limited supply of licenses for the city, and that limitation can be a reason for rejection. These programs want to welcome every eligible business, and their only goal is to exclude businesses that aren't eligible. And because we're really focused on providing excellent customer service, we do our best to screen the applicants for eligibility at the beginning of the process. We don't want a business owner putting time into pulling together a complicated application and supporting documentation and then hitting failure. That is not our practice. So I would say the reason, many applicants may begin the process and not complete the application. And usually the reason for that has to do with their own record keeping, deficits in their record keeping and needing time to supplement that or correct that. So if you're in tax arrears, then you can't complete that application because we want to see and we want to know that we're presenting a pool of vendors to our city agencies and other partners that are financially responsible and can pass a responsibility determination. So often it's just their record keeping, their business record keeping, their financial record keeping that they need support in shoring up, better organizing in order to complete that application process. But we do not have a high rejection rate. A high denial rate.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you, Councilmember Ariola. And I just, before we excuse this panel, I just want to bring up, because Councilmember Mealy mentioned it, about mental health services and referrals. When we visited the Borden Avenue Veterans Shelter, the number one complaint was food, which we're trying to remedy. The other complaint was also the lack of privacy in the congregate part of it, and I've been working with Commissioner Jenkins from DHS to try to solve that. But a big complaint was just many were not referred to the proper agency or doctor or hospital on mental health. That was a big complaint, that many of the residents said, mental health is a big problem in the Borden shelter. I want to know what's the referral like, and where does your agency, Commissioner, come in? Do you visit the Borden shelter, regularly to sit down with the men? Do you listen to their needs? If they're not being served properly, or they're not being referred to the proper agency, or they're not getting the health treatment they require, do you step in? Because that's a big complaint, the mental health. And you could sometimes see it when you're talking to the men, that there is a big issue there. So do we just rely on the not-for-profit that's running it, or do you step in?
So we do have a staff that works at Borden, that has their own office space there, and so we have a presence there regularly. I personally make it a point to visit. My last visit was like 2-3 weeks ago, Mr. Chair. So we try to check in with folks on things and ways that we can be able to help. And it's an all-hands-on-deck approach between having city and federal officials there and nonprofit reps there as well to work with the men who are at Borden.
So what improvements have you seen there since we visited last?
To me, and it's not improvement I'd say I'd seen, it's knowing that DSS is moving forward with bidding on the pods as far as having the contained areas. I know that's something that we've seen as far as progress. And I'm sorry for not being able to speak offhand about other big bullets. I understand that food has moved forward as well, but forgive me for not being briefed on it fully. But I know that things are moving forward there. Whenever I think about not just Borden, but all of our folks who are in the system, it's really about, for those who have mental health issues and who need supportive housing, making sure that we are working hard with other supportive housing developers on the rent-up, on being able to get that supportive housing unit for that veteran who has a need. That's where I'm focused as far as a lot of energy.
And that was a big complaint, that they weren't getting that service. So, and I know that's difficult, especially in these times, but what I want to see is, a report that we're improving the situation. And I keep, Commissioner Jenkins is doing what he can, but he said it's a budgetary problem with upgrading the food, which they were getting those little microwave plastic horrendous dinners of this size. And you saw that. And they have a big kitchen. So I really want to, it's been a while, and I do check in with the commissioner from time to time to see what's going on with the modules. We're trying to give the men there. What they used to have was privacy. And the VA does that in that part of it, as you know. The city doesn't. The city has a congregate model, which is, and I know I'm going off track a little bit, but I am going to visit the location again. And I think we should get some progress on the food, that we can utilize their good kitchen and start making decent meals for the men. They deserve it. Our veterans deserve it. And when we were there, the air conditioner wasn't working. Was that fixed?
That has been fixed, Mr. Chair.
Okay, yes, that's good. So that's an improvement. But in the heat wave, they were suffering in there, and our veterans should not do that. That should be a priority for this administration. That our homeless veterans are at least treated with respect and given decent conditions. And the city should, I did speak to the mayor about it. I did speak to Commissioner Jenkins, but it took a long time to fix it. It was like, I think a month, and August was brutal. And that place cooks. I mean, if you go in there, it's very, very hot. And they have big fans that are noisy and poor lighting. The lighting is commercial. It's fluorescent. That's no place. You can't live like that. So I would love that if we can set some goals and work with Commissioner Jenkins and the mayor's office, if you could help, facilitate that. So thank you, panel. Thank you so much. And again, sorry.
Councilmember Vicky Palladino said she has one more question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not so much a question as it is a statement. $6 million is your budget overall. That's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This city funds everything. Everything. I'm an old movie buff. Something called The Forgotten Man. Well, in this case, it's a forgotten generation and generation and generation. And this hearing is really making me very sad, because there are so many people who put their lives on the line for this country each and every day and continue to do so under the worst circumstances in this present administration. And I have to say that $6 million for the VA is absolutely ridiculous. It's not your fault. We got to examine and re-examine and go back to the table. We want more money for our veterans. They deserve it. This is the most diversified group of people. These are people who got started at 17 years of age and enlisted to serve this country. And the very fact that we cannot treat them with any priorities whatsoever, they are literally at the bottom of the bucket. This is enough. It's not your fault. It's $6 million out of $101.1 billion New York City budget. We are funding everything. And yet we are forgetting those who serve this country. Enough is enough. I think as a city council, we need to pull together, and we need to go to that table, and we need to ask for what these citizens of the United States of America deserve. Because we're giving it out all for free. And yet these guys and women, they cannot get what they deserve. They can't even get a good meal. Bob, you mentioned about the air conditioning. Are they going to have heat this winter? I mean, that's how ridiculous this is. So, nothing against you guys at all, but we got to go to the table, and we got to beg, and we got to do what we need to do as 51 members of this city council needs to do to support our vets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember.
May I say something on that? Please don't forget our VSOs also. Our veteran service organizations also. In other words, we've got folks who also apply for city council funding. And, anything, just to remember, my first time testifying in a hearing, I was somebody who led a VSO, who led the Veteran Future Lab. I see my successor here right now. So just thinking about that group too when we're talking about resources. To us, accomplishing the mission is resources, but that doesn't all have to be DVS. In other words, if the dollar's in front of you and it's between helping one of our brother or sister veteran organizations or us, give it to one of our organizations. That's all I'm saying.
That's
just to make
correct.
sure that we
I think most of our city council, I think we do. I know I do. We give our funding to the vets a lot. But the point is, we really need to see your budget go from $6 million up a bit, don't you think? How do you exist on $6 million? Well, if this was 30 years ago, I'd say, well, maybe, yeah, $6 million is fair share there. $6 million today is a drop in the bucket when we're giving away what we're giving away for free, and our men and women are suffering terribly. This cannot be. It should not be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. Thank you, panel. Thank you, commissioners. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I told you, baptism by fire. Goodness gracious. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much to this panel. We'll now be turning to public testimony. Our first panel for public testimony will be... Thank you. Our first panel for public testimony will be Alexa Madero and Andrea Tan.
Okay.
You may begin when the sergeant starts your clock.
Good to go? Good afternoon. My name is Alexa Madero. I am the Director of Veteran Entrepreneurship Initiatives at NYU Tandon School of Engineering's Veterans Future Lab. I'm also an entrepreneur and military spouse. I want to thank Chairperson Holden, Chairperson Menon, and fellow council members for taking the opportunity to hear from us today on a very important subject. The Veterans Future Lab, also known as the VFL, is here to share how we're empowering New York City veterans and helping them thrive in their post-military service careers. NYU recognizes the challenges that veterans face when reintegrating post-service, and we are committed to providing effective, tangible solutions. Operated by NYU Tandon and launched in 2017, the VFL helps early-stage companies created by veterans or their spouses transform into successful businesses by providing the guidance, expertise, and resources that startups need to succeed. The Incubator is a public-private academic partnership where entrepreneurs are nurtured by university partners with support from government and the private sector. By leveraging the wealth of talent and diverse skill sets found in the New York City veterans community, we are able to accelerate the growth of new ventures and bring economic activity to the area. The VFL is home to two premier entrepreneurship programs, Apex and Veteran Entrepreneurship Training 1 and 2, also known as VET. Apex is a 9-month, no-cost startup business incubation program that provides mentorship, support, and resources needed to start and grow high-impact companies. Veterans Entrepreneurship Training 1 and 2 is a free, multi-week, skills-focused program for early-stage and aspiring entrepreneurs. VET 1 is an introductory educational program for active duty service members, U.S. military veterans, and their spouses new to the entrepreneurship space, while VET 2 reinforces business fundamentals and introduces intermediate frameworks essential to the launch of ventures by U.S. service members, veterans, and military spouses. Since 2015, the VFL has graduated 285 students and supported over 70 ventures. Currently, VFL is home to 10 incubator companies through the Apex program after graduating a cohort of 11 companies in May, and 30 VET 1 participants, which is the third cohort of VET for this year. We continue to work with our partners, including Barclays, ESDC, New York State Assembly, and Goodwin, to ensure the continued growth and success of our work. In 2021, as mentioned earlier, the Veterans Future Lab released a study, The Veteran Journey to Entrepreneurship, which aimed to capture veterans' experiences alongside their entrepreneurship journey, including challenges, successes, resources used, and lessons learned. The study also gathered perspectives from active duty service members and reservists who might embark on the entrepreneurship journey in the future. These perspectives can help program implementers and policymakers understand the characteristics and motivations of future entrepreneurs to better tailor support for this group. Key findings, as mentioned earlier, include that veteran entrepreneurship correlates with socio-emotional well-being. The top challenges faced by veteran entrepreneur respondents includes marketing, personal finances, and lack of initial capital. Professional networks, informal relationships, and professional development programs rank among the most useful resources for veteran entrepreneurs. And the experience in the military and transition to civilian life plays a key role in future entrepreneurship. The veteran journey to entrepreneurship can be longer than that of its civilian counterpart, though the cost of service can come with the advantages of military training and experience. VFL is greatly optimistic about the future of veteran entrepreneurship in New York City and across the country. And with our private and public partners, we look forward to continue improving the lives of veterans and their families. And as we come to a close, just want to share our support of Intro 476. Happy to answer any questions that the committee might have. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Tan. I'm the Micro Enterprise Project Director at Volunteers of Legal Service, VOLS. VOLS was established in 1984, and our purpose is to leverage private attorneys to provide free legal services to low-income New Yorkers to help fill the justice gap. For over 20 years, the VOLS Micro Enterprise Project has helped existing and aspiring and small business owners access high-quality free legal services from our dedicated staff and our network of pro bono attorneys. For many New Yorkers, owning a small business is an effective path out of poverty and into financial stability and independence. VOLS helps with entity formation, drafting and reviewing contracts, protecting intellectual property, among other transactional small business needs. We partner with community and economic development organizations to connect with clients who would benefit from our legal assistance, focusing on minority, women, immigrant, and veteran-owned businesses. Our microenterprise project works together with our Veterans Initiative to connect with veteran service organizations to help identify and serve veteran entrepreneurs and small business owners. We then help veteran entrepreneurs identify their legal needs and create an action plan to address them. By providing our clients access to high-caliber pro bono attorneys and our partner law firms, we strive to level the playing field for veteran small business owners who are otherwise unable to pay the prohibitive cost of a lawyer. VOLS recognizes New York City's efforts to better identify veteran businesses, support their growth, and prepare those businesses for city procurement opportunities. The present proposed bill is an example of these efforts. The Department of Small Business Services, with the city's chief procurement officer, would enable veteran-owned businesses to identify as such when registering to do business with the city, and the city would create a veteran leadership advisory program to educate veteran-owned businesses about city procurement opportunities. While this commitment to support veteran entrepreneurs is significant, it is also crucial that we focus on the implementation of this proposal, specifically on how the city would provide small businesses an opportunity to self-identify as veteran-owned on the city website or in any other means of registration. In working with individuals who have prior military service experience, we have observed that there are many variations in veteran identity that result from such factors as discharge status, serving in a politically controversial war like Vietnam, Iraq, or Afghanistan, serving during peacetime, participating in combat, or having had an at least partly negative military experience associated with trauma or discrimination. Gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, being born outside of the United States, and other personal level characteristics may also affect veteran identity. Therefore, the city should consider how variation in veteran identity may affect participation in the proposed programs, and how to carefully assess veteran identity so that this vulnerable population does not get lost in the process. The key to effectively screen for military service is to properly ask the question. Given the many variations in veteran identity shaped by an individual's unique military experience, it is not as simple as asking, "Are you a veteran?" Many individuals may not consider themselves veterans or may believe that their military experience does not even count. For these reasons, it's important to screen in a manner that captures as many individuals as possible who served our country and are now business owners. Our city veterans represent the best of what we have to offer, and we should continue to strive to provide them with all the support they need upon their return home and as they build their economic futures. Thank you for allowing us to submit this testimony and for supporting the needs of New York City veteran entrepreneurs.
So thank you both for your testimony and the service to our veterans. What agency, I mean, is it Small Business Services? What's your number one referral to your programs where veterans are coming in? Is SBS doing the job, or what agency is getting you the referrals?
For VOLS
For your,
currently?
Yeah, right.
Yes, so we currently are working with organizations that serve seniors, so seniors and veterans, so we have a program there, but we're definitely looking into connecting with other community organizations so that we can reach out to more veterans with business needs.
And what about NYU?
So it's a combination of a few things, but primarily veteran service organizations that operate in the entrepreneurship space. DVS has been an immense partner for us, as well as the SBA.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Any other questions?
Yes, I had one question for NYU. So you mentioned that the top challenges faced by veteran entrepreneurs were marketing, personal finance, and access to capital, which I had asked the administration. Do you also have specific recommendations for the city?
So there are certainly recommendations that we've acted on as the Veterans Future Lab as far as hosting workshops and such. And I think it's something we can certainly collaborate with DVS on implementing further.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Mealy?
Yes, I just saw that you said you partners, including Barclays, EDC, and New York State Assembly. You don't partner well with the New York City Council? Could you explain that?
To my knowledge, New York State Assembly has been a sponsor of our program since it began in 2015. I'm not sure of any historical relations with City Council, but of course, very open to that conversation and the support.
Thank you. I'm looking forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to this panel. Our next panel is going to be our final panel. It's going to be Frank Visich, Rabah Belkabitz, and Tahuti El Bey. Apologies for any mispronunciations. Mr. Visich, you may start when the sergeant starts your clock.
I'm a disabled veteran. I work in Times Square, and I'm having a lot of difficulty with the police department not enforcing the restricted area rules on 44th Street, 45th Street, and 43rd Street. And also, the blue license is supposed to go in the front, on the corner, and the police department is not enforcing that also. And I don't know why. It's a written law in New York City, and this is clearly the recommendations by the code for New York City, and it's in black and white, and just nothing is being done about it. So I'm here to try to see if we can get something done, or something, I don't know. But I'm working on this for 4 or 5 months.
Rabah?
Yeah, hello there. How are you? My name is Rabah Belkibir. I'm a service-connected disabled veteran myself, and I'm a street vendor like Frank. And first, we want to thank you for this hearing, whatever. And Like I said, since 1894, I mean, we never had a chance to speak, but today, thank you for this. And I want to thank, in the beginning, the Mr. Chairman and you guys, and Greg, who is the Director of Legislature at the Chairman's office, and the Commissioner and the DVS, because they are the only one who are listening to us. I just want to let you know that 1/3 of the homeless population in New York are disabled, veterans, the people who served our country. And you were mentioning about getting a job with the city. As disabled veterans, we cannot get a job because I have a pharmacy here. So nobody's going to give us a job with, and we have our disability that occurred when we were serving our country. The big problem that we have, street vending, it's the only job as disabled veterans we can do, because we go into the hospital. Just today, we're supposed to have 6 people coming, 3, they're already at the hospital. He's 82 years old, man, with all due respect to you, Frank, but who's going to give him a job? Like I said, I have a pharmacy here. Thank you both mentioning this, but I'm going to tell you one thing. It's the only job that a disabled veterans can do to prevent for his family, because with this job, we can close the table and go see the doctors. But the problem what we're facing today, I'm going to answer the question. Yes, as a veteran, it's easy to get a license. It's easy to get but it's not easy to find a spot, because the regular spot, the legal spot that we have, the non-veterans are taking our spot. We keep talking to NYPD every single day. Thanks to Greg, we called and the commissioner, and he called DCWP, but DCWP has no power. It's NYPD. Just this morning, we had a meeting with the sergeant at Midtown South, because I'm going to tell you now, last week, I was going because I'm helping. That's what I volunteer for this. I was helping a veteran to set up a table. You know what the guy, the non-veteran, what he told me? He told me, if you put a table here, I'm going to smash that table over your head. We are disabled, we can fight. We did our fight, that's it, we're done. But ma'am, we can't do that. If you go, and you know what, by the way, you wouldn't believe how many, I'm sorry, I'm getting, how many, homeless we have. Sheila, when she killed herself a week before I was with her, because of this illegal, she was working and everything. One day she couldn't work. Then, I can't take you every corner where we have disabled veterans begging. That's not good for, so this is what's going on. We need help. And believe it or not, the city are going against us. They're giving tickets. How you give 1,000? By the way, how come you let someone who's not even served his country get away, and you go to an 80-year-old man and tell him, no, you cannot work here? This is what's going on. We try to get help. We talk with the NYPD. They're always saying, okay, I did talk to the commissioner. Oh, our hands are tight. Disabled veterans needs help today. We served. We defended our country. We are not asking for anything, just for the law to be enforced. Then we can go, these guys go back. I'm here. I will help any disabled veterans to get a license. I will have to be on a... Dan Rossi, he's there. Dan Rossi, he's giving jobs only to veterans and disabled veterans. You know something? He's sleeping in his spot for 9 years to protect his spot. He's twice in Vietnam. Ask him. Mr. Rossi, stand up. 9 years, he's sleeping in the street, 82nd Street and 5th Avenue. We used to work together. You know why? Because if he doesn't sleep there, they're going to take his spot. A guy who served twice in Vietnam. So the city should give us some consideration. And I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, thank you, by the way. He was-
We'll meet, let's schedule a
Thank
meeting.
you for everything, yes.
And then we'll sit down and we'll have somebody, a representative of the NYPD and all the other agencies, Consumer Affairs. We'll
Thank
do
you.
that.
Greg always
And we'll-
helping us.
No,
Greg,
we'll do it, we'll try again. It's a difficult process, but
Please
I know.
include me.
NYPD,
Yes.
yes, we'll schedule a meeting. I
thank you
promise.
very much. Thank you.
Shareholder.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
He didn't
Now
hear.
we'll turn to our last panelist, Tahuti El Bey. You may begin your testimony when the sergeant starts your clock.
Hi, I hope that you are all doing well this afternoon. I wrote this out, by the way, but I'm Tahuti El Bey, ex-Rail Lavelle Shaw. My grandfather on my father's side of my family was a Marine veteran, now deceased, who unfortunately passed in not the best of living conditions. I think that he served in Vietnam. By the way, I found out about this committee between yesterday and today, so I'm not as prepared as I should, right? But anyway, I'm gonna get into it. More than 2.4 million U.S. businesses are owned by veterans. This is more likely outdated, but about 9% of all American firms, right, they employ 5.8 million employees and dole out $210 billion in annual payroll. I just heard someone earlier say $6 billion, so it's even more now. Right, in 2019, there were around 2.15 million Black or African American veterans in the United States, representing about around 12% of the total veteran population. Just 2.4% of U.S. businesses are Black owners, even though Black people represent 12.8% of the U.S. population. Meanwhile, 86.5% of U.S. businesses have white owners, despite white people accounting for a lower percentage, 72% of the U.S. population. Like I said, I'm not prepared. That part doesn't add up. The numbers are off. That's an 84, this I wrote, that's an 84.1% gap in equality when comparing and contrasting Blacks and Caucasians, and a 6.6 gap in equality when comparing and contrasting Blacks and veterans. And yes, I'm well aware that there are Black veterans. That's all.
Council members, are there any questions for this panel? Okay. I'd like to, apologies, this slip was just passed up to me. I would like to call Dan Rossi up to the panel to testify.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Rossi, you may begin when the sergeant starts your clock.
I couldn't hear what she said. Where do I start here? I've been coming to these hearings since 1982. And I'm just trying to pick up on a few things. Councilman Holden hit on the boarding shelter. What you said today, I heard that 20 years ago. Nothing's changed and nothing's gonna change. It's nice, there's a lot of compassion here, and I know your hearts are in the right place. But once you leave this room, that's about pretty much as far as anything's gonna go. And you gotta be honest with that. I didn't catch a lot of the things about financing things for disabled-owned businesses. I've been in business over 40 years. As a disabled veteran, I employed disabled veterans. I'm a Vietnam vet. So we had it a lot worse than any other vets that in this country ever had it. And without any help from anyone, I built the largest vending company in the history of the city. It was so successful that the city council, the people sitting in your chairs, put me out of business at the behest of Donald Trump, because he didn't want to see any cripples in front of his building. And I fought him, and I got veterans the right to work back in Midtown Manhattan. The cost of that was my business. And that's okay, that's yesterday. What's happening now, and I know Councilman Mealy and Councilman Palladino, you just hit on vending a little bit. Well, the city right now, the mayor right now is denying veterans the right to vend. As long as a veteran has a state license, It supersedes any local law. And veterans cannot be denied a permit or a license to vend. They cannot do it. But the veterans can't fight this. Right now, we're back in the appellate court because the city's trying to take away our rights to vend around the parks. The third time we're back in the appellate court. So all this great stuff about helping veterans is beautiful. Except when I walk out that door on the other side of it, they don't care what you say. The mayor don't care what you say. He's listening to the people who put him in that seat, and that's the way it's gonna be. I've been sleeping in the street for 11 years to protect my family. And I'm gonna keep doing it because I know nobody in this room and nobody on the other side is gonna do it. I do it because I'm gonna do it. So, you know, I'll give you a great example on enforcement. He was talking about enforcement. My daughter, who's also a disabled vet, she got a ticket yesterday. She got the ticket because I wrote a book, and we were advertising the book at the cart. 3 cops, 3 enforcement from the parks came to my daughter to take that sign down. So she, for the book, I mean, but 6 of them. These guys are in Times Square. You couldn't get a cop to help them in a million years. But 6 people came yesterday to try and stop me. And this is a must-read for everybody here. It's going to tell you exactly what happens to a vet when he comes back. It's going to tell you exactly when he's successful and he steps on the wrong toes, and how people like you destroy the veterans. When they put me out of business, they destroyed all hopes of veterans being vendors. And they knew and the people in your chairs knew exactly what they were doing. So you buy the book. You want to learn what you did? You want to learn the hatred that you had for us 25 years ago? You buy the book. Amazon, the hot dog king of New York, the New York hot dog king. Buy it, read it, learn what you people did to us, what you're doing to us right now. Right now, you're trying to tell me I can't vend from where I am. Right now, I'm in the appellate court the 3rd time, and they're going to drag this out for 2 years because we've already won twice. How many times can you win and have to go and do it again? It takes money, it takes time, and I'm getting older. Do you understand? And I saw a lot of compassion and honesty here. I really did. I really did. I said, you know, they really have their heart in the right place. But that's it. That's as far as it goes. We're on our own.
Dan, it's a new administration. So let's.
Well, the new administration.
No. Wait.
Hold on a second. The new administration, I don't see anything happening.
No, but
I sat down with the new administration. They said, "Well, try and do something for you."
I want to sit down with you guys. I want to sit down.
Wait a second.
We tried before.
Hold on a second. Can I say something? I met with you already. We spoke.
I know.
You talked to me face to face and said, "Dan, I'm going to help the vets." And when I tried to meet with you, I wasn't allowed to meet with you. So I stopped calling. I don't talk. I only talk to councilmen. I don't talk to middle people.
I don't know the circumstances of that.
I'm telling you what. Look. This is heated.
I'm telling you.
This is heated.
Let's meet.
Only for one reason. That's as loud as it's going to get. Only for one reason. I know what you want to do. I've seen it. I've heard it so many times.
I get it.
And I'm an optimist. I want to believe that you're going to help.
All right. But let's try one more time.
Okay.
All right. Because it's complicated. It's not as simple. It's complicated because there's different agencies involved. Consumer Affairs comes in, NYPD. We have to educate, and that's the problem. I have the same problem with commercial vehicles, where one officer doesn't give them a ticket. They interpret it differently. It's not as simple many times. But we have to, with a new administration, maybe this mayor will listen. I think he will. Let's try to sit down with representatives from the mayor's office, you guys, my office, and maybe we could try to accomplish something to help you guys out. Don't give up, Dan.
I'm not asking for your help. I'm on my own.
All right.
I don't need anyone's help.
Okay. Well,
I can sit down with you 20 times, and at the last time they'll say, we're not going to do it. I'm just saying it. I've been through it. I counted on the city council. I was betrayed by the city council over and over. You have no idea what you people did to me.
Hello? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Good.
I'm just asking that when y'all do meet, could I be there? I think my colleague Val.
Yes. I'll meet.
I have veterans that come to me, and only way I found out about the vendors where I kept poking and poking and poking to find out what's going on. They are circumventing the vendors. They're trying to give somebody new the permits. So I'm willing to sit down. And remember, only way I got here, I kept fighting. And one thing I want to talk to you about, and we could finish, how do you eat a whale?
Say that again?
How do you eat a whale?
Keep away?
How do you eat a white whale, a big whale, one bite at a time? So let's just keep going at it. Sooner or later, someone's gonna break. And I feel you gotta do letter campaigns. You do have to put some skin in the game. You didn't try everybody else, now try the best. Let's try us now. That's all we
I'll
can
give
do.
it a try.
Please.
I'm always
'Cause if
optimistic
you
that something
stop-
good's gonna happen.
If you stop, then the next generation will have to start all the way over. So please, just give us, we don't need to talk no more. Let's just start over from here. Give us a little
Just to
time.
show you that I don't quit. They took everything I had.
I can
I
imagine.
stayed, and the veterans got permits only because
Wait.
I took the city to court. I took them for he could get a permit, I had to take the city to court.
Sir,
I did it.
I
And I had nothing to
understand.
gain by doing it.
Let us
so the
go
veterans
from
are always
here.
going to have me until I can't do it anymore.
Got you. Thank you,
thank you.
Chairholder. I'm looking forward to this meeting. And please,
Anytime you're ready, I'll be there.
no, whenever you're ready. You sure you're ready for me?
I'll be there. Don't worry.
All right. All righty. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. And we, by the way, we did meet several times, so, you know, again, I don't want to look at the past, but let's try, we have a new administration, all right? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you to this.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to this panel. I'd like to just do a last call to see if we've missed anybody, to see if anybody would like to testify who has registered to do so. Seeing none, I'm now going to turn it over to the chairs for closing remarks.
Any other comments, or we're going to close off? Thank you so much, everyone, and I'm going to officially close this hearing.